Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video I'm going to be doing my friend's makeup. I'm just going to get right into explaining what I'm doing. So the first thing that I do is wipe her face with Bioderma. I just do this to get off any dirt or anything that might have been on her face before. So now I'm just moisturizing her face. I used the Purity Made Simple moisturizer. I just like to do this so that her face is nice and clean and so that anything that I put on top doesn't look cakey or anything. Alright, so now I'm just filling in her brows. She has really nice brows to begin with, so I didn't really have to do much. But I just used the Anastasia Beverly Hills brow powder and I think dark brown. So yeah, I'm just filling in any parts that are like sparse and just kind of like outlining the bottom of it so that it looks more defined. But like I said, she has really nice brows to begin with, so there's not much that we have to do here. Alright, so now I'm just carving out her brows. To carve it out, I just used two different shades from the Graftobian foundation palette. I didn't have anything close to her skin color, so I just used the palette because it has a lot of options. So here I'm just blending out the foundation concealer thing that I put under it. I also carved out a little bit on top just to make it look a little bit more precise. But yeah, I'm just blending it with just blending brush. And next I used the Soft Ochre Paint Pot by MAC to just prime the lids for a nice base. And then over top of that I put a mixture of Peach Smoothie from Makeup Geek and Blanc Type by MAC just on top just to set that. So yeah, right now is when I set it with those two eyeshadows. I like to set my creams. I know some people don't, but I like to personally. So now I'm starting to define the crease a little bit. The first shade that I used is Fawn by Anastasia Beverly Hills. So I just put a little bit of that and blended it out a little bit with a blending brush. She has very hooded eyes, and it's kind of hard to see the eyeshadows you put on. So I just put it up a little bit higher than I usually would. And then, yeah, I'm just putting it on the other eye and blending that out and just reapplying if I think I want to make it a little bit more opaque. So the next shade that I go in with is Cocoa Bear by Makeup Geek. These first two shades, I kind of use them as a transition colors. And the next one that I go in with is Fudge by Anastasia Beverly Hills. So now I'm starting to deepen up the colors that I'm applying on her outer corner. And Fudge, I keep it pretty close to just like the outer corner, whereas Cocoa Bear and Fawn, I put them more in the inner, like I put them in the crease, going towards the inner corner too. But Fudge, I'm just keeping in the outer corner. So now to deepen it up even more, I used a black in the outer corner. I used Obsidian from the Anastasia Prism palette, but obviously any black will do for this part. And with these darker shades, you want to make sure that you're blending them out pretty well. You don't want them to look too opaque where there's like a harsh line, but you also don't want to blend too much so that it doesn't look muddy. So just keep that in mind when you're using dark colors. It's kind of tricky to do when you're starting off with makeup, but blending is key in these situations. The next color that I used is Red Brick by MAC, and I kind of just wanted to warm up the look a little bit, so I just put that in the crease a little bit. So the next thing I'm doing is carving out her lid. To do this, I used Tarte Shape Tape in medium, and yeah, so I'm cutting her crease. And this is also something that takes a lot of practice. I didn't know how to do it at first, but yeah, it just takes a little bit of practice. So here, I'm just blending it out a little bit so that the concealer isn't like too cakey or anything. So that's what I'm doing here. And to carve out her crease, I just recently bought this brush by MAC, the 248, and I think it's so easy to do the cut crease with. So if you guys are looking for like a good brush for a cut crease, the 248 by MAC is really good. So on top of the Shape Tape Concealer, I used the Stila Glitter and Glow Liquid Eyeshadow in Kitten, and I did a few coats of that just so that it was pretty opaque and glittery. And right in between that and the darker shades, I used Bitten by Makeup Geek because I wanted more of like a burgundy look to it. And then I'm blending it out. And then right on the brow bone, I used Shimma Shimma by Makeup Geek. And it's a really pretty brow bone highlight. So I put that, and then I'm also blending that out so that it's not like a harsh line. Next I'm gonna, I didn't want to use eyeliner, so I just used that same black eyeshadow to just create a line so that when I put the falsies, there's not like just a weird gap or anything. So I just used black eyeshadow. And the falsies that I put on her in just a little bit, they're just from Ardell, and they're just these very natural ones. She's pretty young, so I didn't want to do anything too dramatic on her eyes, and so yeah, these were just these really natural ones from Ardell. And I just applied those, and then I'm just wiping off any excess fallout that might have fallen off, but there wasn't really much. For primer, I used a Becca one, just the mattifying one. I don't remember the name of it, but I just applied that all over her face. Then for foundation, which is coming up, yeah, just right now. I used the MAC Studio Fix in NC30 mixed with the NYX Total Control Drop Foundation in True Beige. And to blend it out, I just used the Real Techniques sponge. Obviously, you want to make sure you blend this out very well so that there's not any weird spots. Take your time blending out foundation, it's the most important part. So now I'm concealing, and I used some lighter shades from that same Graftobian palette. And I started off concealing like right above her eyebrows and her forehead, and then under her eyes, down the bridge of her nose, and then on her chin. And I'm blending that out with this smaller Real Technique sponge. And obviously, again, just blend it out very well. I also put on some blemishes that she had, but she doesn't really have much. Then, as a cream contour, I used the Fenty one of the matchsticks, and this one's in Truffle. And I just wanted to use that to start off her contour and bronzer. And so I just blended that out. So now to set her face, I used the MAC Studio Fix powder in NC25, and I just did like a light coat of that all over her face. And then for powder contour, I used Laguna by NARS. And then I kind of wanted to intensify it a little bit because I felt like it didn't look dark enough. So I also used a little bit of Casino, also from NARS, as a bronzer and contour. I didn't really do an intense contour, so this is just both bronzer and contour. And to carve out her contour, I just used this little sponge with the Laura Mercier translucent powder. And I love the effect that this gives. So I just did that on her, and I didn't let it like stay on. I didn't like bake it too much for too long. But while it did, I also just contoured her nose a little bit, and I just used something from the Anastasia contour kit. And then I just dusted off that bake. And then under her eyes, I just used those first two shades, so Fawn and Cocoa Bear, and I just smoked it out a little bit under her lash line. And yeah, that's what I'm doing on the other eye as well. So for an inner corner highlight, I use that same Shimma Shimma eyeshadow, just with a little bit, like a smaller brush. Then for blush, I used Dainty by Tarte. It's from one of their Tarte palettes, their blush palettes. And then for highlight, I used Champagne Pop. So I just put a little bit of highlight on her. And I used a little bit over her eyebrow too, on the bridge of her nose, on like the tip of her nose, and then a little bit on her cupid's bow, and also a little bit on her chin. So for lips, I used Whirl by MAC, and I used that with a lip brush. I didn't really want to use a lip liner today, so I just used the lip brush with the lipstick. Over top that, I'm going to be using Orgasm by NARS, the lip gloss, and I think that's just like a really beautiful color. My head's kind of been in the way in these next few clips, but after I'm finished with the lips, it's done. But that's the lips, and then I just put some all-nighter setting spray from Urban Decay. And this is the finished look, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is one of my first videos, so if it's a little bit not too great, I apologize. But if you guys enjoyed it, please subscribe and like this video. It would mean so much to me. If you have any other requests for any other type of looks, just leave it down in the comments below. And again, thank you guys so much for watching.